Well, don't try it. You will die if you try it. I'm serious. You would get such incredible gastrointestinal disturbances. You know, the only way you can eat grains or beans is you have to process them. You have to grind the outer layer off. You have to grind them into a powder. Then you have to mix some other ingredients with them that deactivate some of the compounds, but they don't get rid of all of it. And you have to cook it again that deactivates some of the bad things in there. And you bring the toxins down to the point where it's tolerable. An example of this is canola oil. You know, for years and years, the Canadian government tried to figure a way how to sell canola oil because it's made from a seed that's in the mustard family. It has a chemical in it that's called erucic acid. This stuff can be very toxic. So they grew special types of this, originally called rapeseed, that had lower levels of erucic acid, but they still had some left, too much for human consumption. So then they came up with a way to get it out of there, but they never get all of it out of there. You're always getting some, and it is very, very toxic stuff. So that's why I never recommend canola oil. Again, these things are not what you would eat in a natural environment. You know, you couldn't eat corn, you couldn't eat beans in a natural environment. Therefore, you're not evolved to eat them. Same thing goes for dairy. Now, we fooled ourselves into saying, well, as a baby, you have the equivalent of dairy. Well, I would like to point out one thing, that human milk is very, very different than cow's milk. Plus, I'd like to point out, how many times have you ever run into a baby who was allergic to human milk? I would say 0. How many times have you run into a baby that was allergic to cow's milk? Why? Because cow's milk is for cows, little baby cows. How many calves have you run into that were allergic to cow's milk? I don't think any. I don't think anybody's ever done the experiment where they've given a cow human milk. I wouldn't even try that. But my point is, it's species specific. Dairy was meant for cows, it wasn't meant for you. Now, even if you can drink it and apparently fool yourself, I can tell you myself, I like nothing better than a glass of buttermilk, having spent a large amount of my time on a farm. But when I quit drinking my buttermilk and back off on the dairy, I have a damaged knee that has some arthritic tendencies in it. It gets remarkably better. That's how it shows up in me. So I do have some dairy sensitivity, although that's the only way it shows up. Also, I might add, that you people that have chronic constipation, did you know that one of the reasons you have chronic constipation is dairy consumption? Did you ever wonder why one of the companies that manufactures glue, it's a byproduct of milk production? Because when you put certain proteins in your stomach and they mix with the acids in there, they create a glue. You're manufacturing glue in your own intestinal tract, and you wonder why you have constipation. That's one of the reasons why. Sugar. Need we say more about this? Sugar. Probably one of the most evil substances ever invented by humans. You can make a lot of bad stuff out of it. You can make alcohol out of it, you can make explosives out of it, or you can eat it and get real big and fat. I just read another scientific study that said that America is headed towards an obesity rate of 45%. If that doesn't enter civilization, I don't know what will. Well, sugar is a totally unnatural substance. If you've ever seen a bunch of kids at a little birthday party, you give them some sugar and watch them climb on the ceilings, you have to peel them off the walls, you'll understand what the problem is here. Yes, it does alter behavior. Yes, it does drive up triglycerides. High fructose corn syrup, did you know that a new study just showed that this high fructose corn syrup, again made from corn and a fructose, is the food of choice of cancer cells. In studies where they take cancer cell cultures, drop a little fructose in there, and they go bananas. They love this stuff. All right, and this agave nectar that you're getting from wherever, that's basically fructose syrup too. It's not the real stuff. It's not like they really do it down in Mexico. You can get that, but it's very hard to get. It's been monkeyed with. It's as bad as high fructose corn syrup. It's just high fructose agave syrup is basically all it is. Sugar will damage you. It brings on diabetes. In societies that do not have sugar consumption, diabetes is just about unknown. Now, you may say, what about natural sugars? Well, here's an example of a natural sugar, an apple. I don't think you can get diabetes eating an apple. You sure can get diabetes taking the sugar out of an apple and eating the sugar that comes out of 12 apples. Yeah, that'll do it, but eating the apples, I don't think you're going to eat 12 apples, but you could get it from just eating the sugar that's in 12 apples. You see, the good thing about naturally appearing foods that occur in their natural state that do have some sugar in there, they have so much fiber and other things in there, they prevent you from over-consuming them. That's the basic secret of the paleo diet. Salt. Salt is not a normally occurring thing for you to eat. You get plenty from your foods. You don't need to add any at all. Now, a lot of times people have severe difficulty getting their salt taste to go away because they've been overloading it for so long. It's a very difficult thing. There are some tricks you can use, some herbs you can add in, sometimes some lemon juice and things like that. But you'll find out that once you back off and give it a while, suddenly you'll find out that foods that you used to add salt to, now you can't stand them because they're so salty. Last are the additives. Anything like sodium benzoate or sodium monosodium glutamate, and I can go on to 1,000 other chemicals. These are things your body was never meant to handle. They're abnormal. They get into your body. They cause problems. The heavy metals that come in through the processing of our pesticides, herbicides, and the additives that we put into the fertilizers to our soil. We get heavy metal contaminants. We have all kinds of things coming into our body that weren't meant to go in there, plus the contaminants in our food supply, such as the bisphenol, which is in the plastic that leaches into the food. It's a well-known carcinogen. I keep going, but my point is that the paleo diet avoids a lot of that. So these are the avoid. Now, when I say this to people, I usually get, oh my God, that's everything I eat. Well, that may be your problem. Now, it's not the end of the world. When we hear the foods you can eat, because they were the ones you were meant to eat. I've had patients that I've talked into going into the paleo diet along with our nutritional consulting. I've had adult onset diabetes, type 2, just recede in a 2 or 3 month period of time. Their A1C levels come down from 8 or 9 down into the 5.5 range, normalized. I've had triglycerides, elevated blood fats on people go from 2,500 down into the 120 range. Cholesterols from 300 down to 150. These things are common. I've had blood pressure drops. I mean, one of the first things that people will notice when they go on the paleo diet is they'll drop a lot of fluids the first week or so. It acts like a diuretic because carbohydrate, water, it pulls it and holds it into your system, and when you do this diet you immediately drop water like you would with a diuretic, only it's a natural approach. It actually activates the diuretic hormones in your body. Aches and pains, people with tachycardia, many of your people that have dysautonomia or you have mitral valve prolapse, irregular heartbeats, a lot of times when you cut the foods out of your body that you're allergic to that cause the agglutination of the white blood cells in your body and the Rolo phenomenon, it goes away. Very scary cardiac arrhythmias go away, and a whole bunch of other things do. So what do you eat? Well, vegetables. Lots of veggies on this diet. One patient described this diet as being basically you're a meat-eating vegetarian. It is not a high meat diet. It's probably about the same amount of protein you're consuming right now. So don't let anybody fool you that you're going to be living on raw meat all day long. No, I recommend you cook it. Don't get carried away, but you should cook it. It should be lean meat. It should be mean, low in saturated fats. Grass-fed is best. Lots of fish, lots of chicken and things like that. Now, I know about the contamination in your food supply, but if you think your meat's contaminated, what do you see what's going on over here with some of your vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, and berries? Okay, so that's something you're going to have to work out about yourself, about your organic foods and sources like that. A warning on your organic foods. A lot of the stuff that's labeled organic, I don't care if it's certified organic, is not. They're just lying to you. Wish I had a better answer for you than that, but there's things you can do, and we'll cover that. Vegetables. Pretty much any vegetable. We prefer the low-starch ones. Now, when most people, you say, oh, I eat vegetables 3 times a day. You mean you have 3 orders of French fries a day. That's not what I meant. Anything but potatoes. Okay? Just about anything but potatoes. Green stuff, red stuff, purple stuff, orange stuff, red stuff, white stuff, all that, the vegetables. Low starch is where you focus on. Lots of salads. Raw is best. Fruits. Low sugar fruits. Now, if you look at the fruit consumption in America, it's basically 2 fruits are like 50-60% of all fruits. That's changing a little bit, and that's good, but it's bananas,